Kia has come a long way. Hi guys, Eric here and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be having a look at this 2016 Kia Sorento 2.2 turbo diesel LX Auto. It is big, it is beautiful, and it is brown. Is it any good though? A really big thank you to the accommodating, thoughtful and helpful staff here at ASJ Motors. They have a huge selection of quality used cars located in two locations in the Overberg region. One is in the industrial area of Hermanus, the other is located on the main road of Verliesdorp. They are open for business, so be sure to check out their catalogue, link in the description box below. If you live in the Western Cape and you have an original car in good condition you would like me to review, please get in touch. There's an email address in the description box below. The Sorento was the biggest SUV that Kia offered locally. It is available as a 5 or 7-seater, with practicality and space being its main selling points. The very first generation, codenamed the BL, was released in 2003 in South Africa. This generation had the same construction as Bucky's, with its body being bolted onto a chassis. It was released initially with a 2.5-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel and a 3.5-litre petrol engine with either a 5-speed manual for the diesel or 4-speed auto for the 3.5 V6. In 2006, it received an update with new, stronger engines as well as a new 5-speed auto. A second update saw the addition of a 7-seater option and a new diesel powertrain. In 2010, the second generation Sorento, aka the XM, was released in South Africa. Available with both a 2.2-litre turbo diesel from the previous generation as well as a 3.5-litre petrol V6 with a punchy 206 kilowatt. It too was available as a 5 or 7-seater and you had a choice between rear and all-wheel drive, but the second generation had a monocoque construction, meaning that the body is an integral part of the car. This is the third generation Sorento, codenamed the UM. This particular version is the 5-seater 2-wheel drive version. This is where Kia truly came into its own when it comes to styling. The front in particular looks excellent, elegant and even feline-like. The big grille and slim lights give it an aggressive yet attractive face. The rear is much more reserved, with the light clusters reminding me a lot of a Jeep Grand Cherokee. The profile awards it more of an MPV vibe than a full-blown SUV, but it looks good in its own right, especially with the scalloped doors. Power comes courtesy of a 2.2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine Kia has used in other models. It is a very punchy unit with 147 kilowatts and 440 Nm of torque. But more on that a bit later. For now, let's have a look at the interior. First impressions? They are good. There is such a great sense of space in here, particularly width-wise. The passenger seat feels so far away. Like most cars of its era, the general design language in here is very curvaceous, but I think it works quite well. Its swooping curves communicate a modernity and a sense of calmness that you would want from a big family SUV. I particularly like this hoop that connects the top of the dash with the doors, even though I have seen that same design in a couple of other cars. The dark wood trim classes up the joint as well. Speaking of trim, the use of materials is quite good in here. You get plush, soft plastics on top of the dash, the mid-tier of the dash, as well as the doors. In fact, with the exception of the lowest most part and the window switches, the whole door panel is trimmed in very good quality materials. The only sad thing is that it isn't really constant. This massive slab of unpainted black plastic that surrounds the center console looks a bit subpar quality-wise, and the lid for the storage compartment feels and looks a bit cheap. Also, this dark silver trim piece that surrounds the infotainment system is only mimicked a little bit on the steering wheel and nowhere else in the cabin, which I find quite odd. Let's take a closer look though, starting with the door panel. Well, I personally really like its design. There's something so calming about its voluptuous lines. Trim is excellent too, with a solid metal door handle, a thin chrome strip that underlines the dark wood trim, and little bits of silver that accentuates the switches. Even the well-padded armrest is wrapped in leather. The doors are also nice and heavy and closes with a very German-esque thud. It isn't perfect though. The window switches themselves feel a little bit cheap, and the door pockets could be a bit bigger considering the segment the Sorento finds itself in. Other than that, not bad. I'm pretty sure that the steering wheel of the Seltos I reviewed a while back has ruined me forever, because no other car I have reviewed yet can match that car's steering wheel for the awe factor, including the Sorento's. It isn't that far off though. Its rim is wrapped in soft Napa leather, it has a sporty 3-spoke design, and bits of dark silver trim to lift it a little bit. The many buttons provide good feedback and are ergonomically very well thought out. The steering wheel is adjustable not only for rake but reach as well, so finding a comfortable driving position will be very easy indeed. The stalks provide good dampening, the only thing is they look a bit too busy at first glance. You will get used to it though as you drive it more and more. The dials on the other hand is a perfect example of beauty by way of simplicity. They are extremely easy to read, it is uncluttered, and it has bits of chrome just to lift it up a bit. Even the water temperature and analog fuel gauge have their own chrome frames. In between the two analog dials, you will find a monocolor LCD drives information display. It does look really good though. I was fooled into thinking it was full color. It communicates a full trip computer, audio information, service information, as well as vehicle settings, and it is controlled using buttons on the steering wheel. Moving to the infotainment system though, it is a bit of a letdown. For some reason, Kia decided not to give us a bigger screen when the Sorento was released, so this small screen lets down the cabin as a whole. The buttons that surround it look bigger than the full color display itself. This also means that navigating the menus while on the move is very tricky because the actual text is so small. On the bright side, it is quick to load different menus, it is responsive to my touch, and it comes well equipped with Bluetooth audio and auxiliary input as well as USB port being standard fare. The standard fit sound system performs admirably as well, if not best in class. The climate controls fare much better though. The plastics around might look a little bit excessive, but it is ergonomically so well thought out. Temperature is controlled via 2 dials, and the fan speed is controlled via a uniquely shaped button. Very impressive. Considering the beautiful and intricately designed seats we've been getting lately, you can tell that the Sorento is from a different era. That's not necessarily a bad thing though. Even though they look a little bit plain, it suits the Sorento's personality very well. They're also nice and comfortable. They don't provide lots in the way of side bolstering, and ergonomically speaking, my arms don't quite reach the armrests. They are just a little bit too far away. Thankfully, because of the electric adjustment, finding a comfortable driving position will be very easy indeed. With the design out of the way, let's talk practicality. When it comes to storage solutions, the Sorento performs very well. The well-dampened glove box is a very good size. You get a big compartment in front of the gear lever, 2 wide and deep adjustable cup holders that can be covered up when they are not in use, a huge space underneath the center armrest, decently sized door pockets, and a sunglasses holder. Quite impressive. The only gripe I have about this overhead panel is the color. Why make it black when the entire surround is tan? It's a bit jarring at first glance. Get in the back and who needs a limo? Seriously, there is so much space back here. Knee room and headroom is excellent, and you can move your feet underneath the front seat to really stretch out. The seats can also recline, and they can be moved forward and backward to make this thing thoroughly practical. Storage-wise, there is a door pocket, nets behind each front seat, and 2 cup holders that are integrated into the drop-down armrest. You even get your own rear air vents. I must mention the space again though. Wow. Considering this is the 5-seater version of the Sorento, the theme of space continues when you start to discuss the boot. It is huge, 616 liters. Not only that, there is more storage underneath the false floor where the 3rd row would have been. The rear seats fold flat in a 40-20-40 split, and there is no ridge that hinders through loading nor a load lip, so you can easily slide things in and out of the boot. 4 tethering hooks and 2 grocery hooks complete the package. This is a very well thought out 5-seater SUV. The first thing that jumps out at me when I drive the Sorento is that it doesn't really feel like a big SUV. The driving position isn't really that high, so it feels like any other normal hatchback than anything else. That isn't necessarily a bad thing though, because unlike most other lumbering SUVs, this car doesn't feel nearly as intimidating to drive. All the controls are nice and light, the gearbox is smooth, and the engine provides quite an astonishing amount of shove, so lane weaving during rush hour traffic will not be an issue. As standard, you get a reversing camera that feeds video to the comically small screen, as well as front and rear park distance control, which means that even though this isn't the smallest car ever, parking is really easy. Out on the open road, and the Sorento allows you to just sit back and enjoy the ride. The cabin is surprisingly well insulated from the outside world, and the suspension, while firm, is by no means uncomfortable. The seats are like captain's chairs, so you can really sink into them and just let the car eat away the miles. This car has some surprising overtaking abilities thanks to its turbocharged engine, so for long distances, the Sorento does a very good job. Out on the twisties, and again, I am pleasantly surprised. Body roll is surprisingly little considering how comfortable the suspension is, and the engine loves to rev, so pushing it out of corners is quite fun. The gearbox is quick to respond, and the steering provides a modicum of feedback. Look, I wouldn't call it fun, but a dull experience, this is not. Turning to reliability, the Sorento performs well, with very few overall complaints. One thing to keep in mind is that when buying a Sorento with a manual transmission, make sure that the clutch doesn't slip. The Sorento is quite a heavy car, and the clutch has to work hard. According to whatcar.com, the Sorento finished 7th out of 22 rivals in a reliability survey. Not bad by any means. It is worth noting that the generation before this one is not nearly as reliable, and Kia's parts prices are on the expensive side. But I will get into that when I review one. When it comes to its rivals, you are quite spoiled for choice. Like most other SUV classes, every manufacturer wants a segment of the orange. There is a Sorento sister car, the Hyundai Santa Fe, which has a longer warranty, the VW Tiguan, which is slightly smaller but a bit more fun to drive, the Peugeot 5008, which is newer, comes with better tech, and is arguably more attractive, but reliability remains a bugbear, and dealer network is quite poor outside of bigger towns and cities. Regardless, make sure to test drive all of them. There is sure to be a car that is perfectly suited for you. To answer my earlier question, yes, it is good. It is really good. The only criticism I have has to do with some of its interior trim and ergonomics, but other than that, this is a solid offering from Kia. You also get some well-priced examples on the used market, so I can wholeheartedly recommend the Sorento. Well done, Kia. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a thumbs up, as it makes the world of difference to my channel. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe and get notified of upcoming videos. I have loads more coming up for you guys, so stay tuned. If you are interested in some behind the scenes footage and maybe a peek into my personal life, you can follow me on my social media platforms. Links are in the description box below. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Until next time, bye.